everyone. Welcome to the TGC Livestream. We're coming to you from TGC headquarters in Santa Monica, California, every Friday for a Q&A with a different developer. And today we're very lucky to have Jenova Chen, our founder and president, creative director.
It's great to be back.
And today we're going to be doing just a pure Q&A. So no gameplay. We're just going to be talking about nearly a month in now to Sky, how the game's going, and fielding all your questions about how the season has gone and how the game has been received generally, and our new platform Android that's coming up. I know you guys have a few questions about that as well. And as always, we're going to have some giveaways for those of you that ask questions that are answered on the air. So we'll have a candle pack giveaway to each of our users that asks a great question, which will then feed on to Jenova. So I just wanted to quickly kick off.
Wait, how many candle are you giving to the question people?
Oh, I can't remember exactly what it is. I can't. So I'm not going to be able to say. Chris is probably going to be able to answer for me in the in the show notes. But I think it's one of the smaller packs. Yeah. We don't really care. You're too crazy.
I'm thinking whether I should ask my friends to do that to get candle fast.
Right. So we had the launch party last night for Sky, and we had all of our friends and current colleagues and their significant others and all of the past TGCers and everything around to celebrate its success. And you gave a big, great speech about the 7-year journey that was Sky's development. And I don't know, how's it feel to have that milestone marked? And
it definitely felt like it's you flipped a page in your life, and moving on to Sky is being 7 years in the development, and now finally we say, well, it is out live, and now we're gonna enter the new stage, to operate and keep running Sky as a live game. So to me it's a change of pace in my life, and also I kind of look forward to do a lot more interesting things in Sky now that the framework is built up.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday in our town hall as well, right? We got the whole company together and looked at the future, what the future holds for TGC, and I think it was really exciting. The team were really thrilled by the prospect of Sky being a starting point, and almost like a petri dish for us to try all sorts of new, very TGC style social experiments and stuff.
It is just the beginning. We have millions of players now playing Sky, and it is very interesting to imagine, as the game expands and as we put the game out on more platform, how is the culture of the Sky universe going to evolve as we bring more people. And also we've been watching what's happening in the community of Sky. It's very different between when we were soft launching in a smaller population, and now we're doing this globally. And there are small things like bugs we're fixing. We also discovered, now people start to poke around the game, see if they can find a loopholes or exploits. And so we're also working diligently trying to remove things that really would affect the players' fair play. If you guys see anything that is kind of unusual and that is potentially damaging the community, please let us know. We only have so many eyes, but if you guys see something strange, it would be great if you can capture something and share with us.
Yeah, it's a totally different story from having a couple of hundred people playing the beta each day to now having like hundreds of thousands. The edge cases that are found are like on a whole nother level. So now that the game's been out for a few weeks and we've had this milestone and we're looking forward to the future, What is it that you're most proud of about Sky?
I'm mostly proud of the people who play Sky and the kind gestures people making in the world. I think the game has its own story, but I've said this a couple of times. I was moved by the people who play the game with me, and I've heard very interesting stories from players of the people they've met in the game. Uh, Ultimately, Sky might have been an adventure where a story is unfolding, but what I really see that is happening is the world has brought people together and having a genuine connection with each other, regardless of their race, their age, and their gender. To me, that is the spirit we're going for. Is the genuine human-to-human connections and our friendship, um, and it's great to see that happening. And the other thing I'm I'm pretty proud of is just the amount of talent our players have. From the masterful instrument players to the wildly creative dance people are making, and to the short musicals they're arranging, using all their tools and skills that I would never have thought about. So, in the future, we would like to add more features in the game which allow you to be more expressive, to be more creative in the space. Yeah.
And that's actually the type of content we get the most engagement with on social media as well. People love the little musical arrangements from different players on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. It was really heartwarming to see that piece yesterday up on Instagram with the guy on his piano and doing it must have, playing all these different chords and incredibly complex, symphony. Just himself, it must be pretty cool to stumble upon that if you're just a regular player in the game, and this guy in the forest.
This is a wild man.
Yeah, just going crazy on his piano. So yeah, those sorts of special moments are really cool. What's the number one thing you want to improve about the game, or the area where you want us to sort of focus?
It's weird. It's there are a couple areas that we are focusing on. The number one thing is to create more engagement with the user-created content. So ultimately, we are making content, and we have pretty exciting content that's coming that I can't talk about. And hopefully you guys will see in the next season. But what is really interesting is about what the player can create for each other. We have tools like taking photos and videos, and you can chat with text, you can express yourself with dance and music. But I feel like it's still relatively difficult to share right now. In order for players to see each other's creation, you have to rely on Twitter or Facebook to Instagram to share them. Hopefully, in the future, we can make it more convenient for the player to create, not only creating the content, but also share with their friends. And the other thing is, right now, I think Tim has already mentioned about the economy. We wanted to foster a community where it's not valued around, how to say it? It's the people who spend the most money will be the most rewarded. What we really want to see is the people who has the most respect from the players will be the most kind of standout players, and that's how we started thinking about currency. Instead of using the candles, we're using the heart. And the idea is the heart is coming from the people, and so if you would be having a very outstanding look, you would not be able to spend money to get it yourself, but instead it's coming from the people. And that was really the intention, and that largely worked out in beta. But now the game is out in live, and we've seen a lot of people wanted to compete on having those hearts coming, and we've seen players pay farmers to create fake accounts, or if they have multiple devices, they will do it themselves, and every day they will give heart to themselves. And to me, that is just really not what Sky is created for. And I don't blame the players for doing that, because they're just trying to find the shortest path towards victory, right? I mean, gamers wants to win. So we are talking internally just how to, instead of like duct tape this problem, but to solve it completely. So I hope you guys have some patience, because ultimately, as a game designer, it's all about how you control what does the player's input generate the outputs, and that will define people's behavior. And we're trying to work out an economic system that would reward the player who actually gain the respect because of they have genuine connections with many people, and because of their generosity and their helpfulness, they actually would be ranked higher. And if you just have money, I don't think you should earn the same level of respect. So we're looking very deep into the heart system, and we're trying to see how can we prevent these current issues that's currently in the community from the ground up. That is something that we are working on at the moment, and it's a system like this is not something we can spin out once and then immediately hit it correct, and it requires the players and us to iterate over time. Initially the heart system was working, and then over time, people find loopholes and issues, and we've been trying to like plug the holes as people discover it. If we switch to a new system, I think the same process would still go through. And I know players don't necessarily like change. So maybe talking about this is a bit too early, because we don't have this new system ready right now. So I just want you guys to keep in mind that when we make big change like this, our intention is to protect the purity of the value of the community. We're not here to like trying to squeeze you or nickel and dime you somehow to have to pay us more money. That's not our intention.
Yeah, the ultimate outcome for us is just that positive, genuine human connection, and figuring out a way to reward that and incentivize it in a way that doesn't tarnish the purity of that connection. And it's quite a complex design challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do a couple of quick, which should be easy ones. Do you have plans to make cutscenes completely skippable? And that's from
yes.
Dakota Cody.
We always wanted to do that, but there's so many cutscenes, and we manually make each one skippable. But we have probably missed important ones that we didn't click on making them skippable. If you guys have seen cutscenes that you wanted to be skipped, just text us or tweet at us. We would definitely make them skippable. Yeah.
Cool. So Pitch asks, is there going to be a beta for Android like there was for iOS?
I think ideally we want to do that. Right now we're just really rushing for making Android to work, so I can't guarantee that this beta would happen.
Cool. Because Google actually has some really interesting tools, like the early access program and everything, which is a bit more involved than what's available on iOS. I think it's just going to be a matter of whether the timing works out for us, right? Yeah. But it's an interesting thing for us to look at. So, Zanantium, I get really tripped up on the pronunciation of some of these great usernames. Asks, is there a possibility of more orchestral instruments added to the game?
Orchestra, yeah, we have every season we have new instruments. I always joke about like eventually we'll run out of instruments to be added. So yeah, there will be more for sure.
We can always do different styles and sounds of pianos and harps and all those things as well, though, can't we?
Yeah, well, I guess I'm more thinking about like the more difficult instruments, right, in the future. Like, I mean, so far we have good hit instruments, piano or bells, or it's gonna be harder to do the strings. I think that's the most difficult instrument.
Do you mean difficult for like animation or for the actual sound of like playing it, or?
Yeah, just actually the input, how to make it sound right, and I think it's a lot easier to simulate. You tap the screen and then something just happens. Yeah, how do you do the strings? It's like I have to think about like how does that work. I mean, there is some level of abstraction, like how we don't have the entire four notes of the piano, and me myself is not a very well educated instrument players, so I actually appreciate how they made it easier for me to like at least master or memorize certain sounds. I'm just trying to imagine how would the string work, but that's our brilliant sound designer and audio engineers talent to make them happen. Yeah, I mean, we definitely will go add more, and so that eventually we can do some pretty impressive multiplayer performance.
Yeah, it's certainly, I don't know, a lot of the joy that especially our like, most dedicated players get just after they've like done a lot of running around and the collecting and things in the game is just mastering those instruments. And I love learning songs of other people, like just sitting there and following along with them. I think that was one of my favorite additions to the game, being able to see what notes they're playing and
actually, yeah. So one thing we're also working on, or talk about working on, is some players really good at playing, and they're playing the piano so fast that our current networking just simply can't catch all that many presses in a second. And we're talking about having a more lossless streaming mode, where if someone really want to perform in front of many people, we could capture everything. But at the same time, I've heard player asking some kind of auditorium, a theater location where you can play music for more than just 7 people. That's something that we're talking about how we can make that possible.
That idea has been around for a while, hasn't it? As well, yeah. So, Crystal Skylark is asking, is there going to be a new season straight after Gratitude, or will there be a break? And there will be a short break. What our plan is for it to be around 2 weeks, and then there'll be a new season after that. So we're right in the thick of production for the new season at the moment. It'll be a couple of weeks away from being finished, so it'll go into beta around the same time as their current season finishes. And so it'll be able to sit in beta for a couple of weeks, and for those players that are in the test flight beta, they'll be able to get an advanced look at it and help us break it and find all the things that are wrong with it, and make sure that it's 100% ready to go out to global. But generally what we're trying to do is do these 6-week seasons and then a 2-week break, so there's a new season of content for you to play every 2 months.
Right. Also, in the past, when it's between seasons, we basically have no events, no daily quests. And personally, as I play, I always felt a little bit empty because suddenly the life is lack of purpose. So this time, when Gratitude season is over, we will still have the daily quest. You can participate. I think it's still important to have a reason to break the ice and do something with other players. So don't be surprised if you see spirits still coming after the season.
Yeah, and if you guys have suggestions for daily quests that you'd like to see added, me and my team are working on expanding that at the moment, so we'd love to hear your ideas of things that we could add in there, because we want to get more variety in. There's some old ones which we haven't had for a while, so we're going to look at bringing those back for the next season as well, and we've got a whole new quest type coming in the next season. So we're trying to keep those fresh as we go, so it doesn't get too repetitive as well. So this is a question from Canvas that we were just talking about before we came on the live stream. Would you guys consider introducing item gifting? I'd be really happy to give things to others.
So in this case, is it? So one thing we are trying to avoid is just a free market trading. When that happens, it just opens a lot of kind of vulnerability for hacking and credit card fraud, and all kinds of very difficult to trade to track down problems. And so what we want to do is, Sky is a game about giving, and I think we've tried a little bit on the adventure pass, to see how the player react to a pass that you can gift to the others. And so far I would say it's very successful, and so we definitely would want to use the spirit of giving to affect more of the purchases. And right now the biggest request I've heard personally is the ability to gift candle directly to other players and the ability to gift items. So these are definitely within our consideration. It's just when we make big system like this, we need to make sure it's hack prevented. Yeah.
Cool. So on the music note, Vonnie Millie is asking, says, I love the music in the game. Could you add a feature that lets us listen to the sheet music before purchasing it? I only just bought one after hearing the song from another player online. That's a really good question, and I hadn't actually thought about that before. But
yeah. I mean, we were super behind in terms of our commerce, like our shop, and all the preview was like so last minute because we've been mostly focusing on the core adventure. But now that the page has flipped, and we want to make overall experience just to be more polished. So having preview for sheets seems like a no-brainer that we have to do it. So thanks for bringing this up, because I actually was not thinking about this. All I was thinking is, I want to preview the outfits, preview the emotes, but preview the music sheet. It's a good idea.
That's a really good idea, and a couple of people have talked to us about not having a super clear picture of what the cosmetic was going to look like that they were buying from a spirit as well, and it made us realize that maybe everyone doesn't know this, but like the items that you purchase from them in the menu are the clothes that they are wearing. So if there's a cape in the menu, then that's the cape that's on their bag, or the mask that they're wearing. But we could be much clearer about how we communicate that as well. So we've been wondering whether we can have like the camera zoom in on the mask and the statue, the spirit be like, oh, look at this cool mask. So you get a very clear, okay, right, I'm actually buying that mask. So we could do a similar thing with the music sheet where the spirit could just start playing the music for you or something. And
usually music sheet is acquirable on spirit with instruments, so maybe they could just play it. Oh man, that's gonna take some time.
There's a lot of things that we could add in, but I don't know, this is the fun bit though as well, because you get to respond, like decide what gets added in based on this interaction and what you think is actually going to add the most value to the experience. But it can be overwhelming.
If we can make a music sheet working, then we can have NPC almost like you know, like in the old days, you can just like put the coin in and order any music to be played.
Like a jukebox.
Yeah, a jukebox at NPC. That's probably farther down the line. Yeah.
I have an interesting question from Paula, which I didn't actually know either. Where did the generated names come from? They're so pretty.
Really? I mean, if you guys think that way, I'm very relieved because we've seen how the China build generated random names. They did a good job picking the words, so everyone just sounds like straight out of a romantic novel or something.
Oh, cool.
But with the English letters, I have no idea how that works. It was Adam, who's our gameplay engineer, who did the random name generators. I don't know. I mean, we could make a post about it, but he was definitely making certain selections of syllables and kind of making that to work together and not getting too long.
Maybe we could get him on the live stream one day actually to talk about it.
We should get Adam to talk about it because sometimes we have some pretty borderline offensive names come up. That's what I was mostly concerned. Yeah.
I haven't seen anybody post on social media being like, hey, here's my really inappropriate username or something. Okay, so Mariana Mura asks, are there going to be more mini games like hide and seek emote, or maybe specific areas for them as well?
Yeah, we had made a lot more mini games during the development of Sky. Some of them are really fun, but we choose to not including that because they really hurt your fingers afterwards. We have.
Was that like a track and field style?
We had tag. We had a zombie tag, and it was fun. But just in order to win or to not be caught, people are flicking so much, and in the end, we felt it was maybe doing more harm than good for a game like that. We had a very cool werewolf games where one of the player will be the possessed one, and the other person don't know who is. Those games are like we want to bring them back, but we want to bring them back in a more polished stage. Probably wouldn't be introduced as a pure mini game, but those are the things that we want to bring in the long run.
Cool. We have a few different people asking about like just social spaces to hang out, and you were saying before about the possibility of having an arena or like a stage where more people than 8 could listen to an instrument. I mean, I think there's just a few people asking, are we just going to add more spaces for people to meet up and party?
Well, so right now it's different. I mean, when we were making Sky at the beginning, I'm charting for a map and what are the core places player has to go. But now it's more like we have a cool place here now, and we wanted to give player interesting activities across the park. So I will name a few. People really want to have pets. Okay, that's a system that will take some time to build. Player asking for owning their own home and decorate their own home. That's another gameplay feature that is pretty extensive. And minigame is the third one, and so also having the stadium and the performance is the fourth one. Like these are all very exciting things that I want to work on. The question is the priority. Like in a way, if the community can have a vote, like which one they care about more, we would that would definitely affect our priorities.
Well, maybe we should do that.
Yes.
Poll on social media.
So I am a gamer myself, so I'm like less of an instrument player, but I could probably decorate my home a lot better than most people. So I will have my bias. So yeah.
Cool. Well, that was going to be my last question. Someone was asking about whether we'll have a home space to decorate and invite friends around to and stuff. So
right. So the challenge of all these is like, let's say if we have a home space, pretty much every MMO game have a home space. I've seen some pretty extensive like home space, like Final Fantasy 14, which you basically have a modern day furniture, like lighting. It's like a modern day interior design simulator. But we do have to respect the world of Sky. It's a world where most of us are kids, and the universe there don't have modern day contemporary materials. Most of the buildings are stones, and so if we make it like a really advanced and very modern, I think it might take the player out of the world. So we have to kind of still follow a certain level of believability and to fulfill those things. So yeah, I would hope that when the players suggesting ideas like having pets or having home, if you guys can think a little bit about what type of home, right, that would fit in the world of Sky, but that will work with your own interest. All the pets, right? I mean, we don't actually have many living animals right now in the world of Sky. I think, you can either have a butterfly or a manta ray, and there's not much we could create variety. So those are the challenges. Is not from technological challenge, but from the world building itself. I mean, if we introduce new areas of the land and we have new creatures, then we might have some options. But for any pet games, online games with pets, I think the variety is like really the bottleneck for us. It's like, so it's not like everything is just okay. We want to have this, we can just make it. There's design, creative challenges, to protect the coherence of the world.
It's been a big challenge with us as well as we've added the seasons and making sure that we really have a very clear idea of how we're expanding the narrative of the land, and that all of the new items and stuff that we put in, you give us a real hard time to make sure that they fit in the world of Sky, and that's and so it's a lot of work, I think, to go through the iterations to make sure that they feel Sky.
Yes,
but
Sky.
It's worth it.
Sky is a themed the virtual theme park. It's not a Second Life, which anything can go here. Or PlayStation Home if you're a console player, and it's at that point the virtual world they have there lost its voice, lost its value. I think to protect this world, to have a coherent voice is my top priority.
Cool. I think it's a great note to wrap up on. So some really great questions today, guys. Thanks a lot, and thanks, Jenova.
Yeah, thank you, and
taking the time.
I look forward to actually be able to fulfill the things you're asking for, and we have plenty of stuff we're working on. So
I do. The team are very busy. You can look forward to the new season coming up and some new releases in the second half of the year with some pretty cool new expansions to the game. So thanks for playing and thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.